Alright, it's a sort of a gloomy fall day outside, so I thought it'd be a good day for another vlog type video. And it occurred to me while I was watching some of the videos of the new 2018 lineup of Gibsons that something's missing. Lots of little details are missing on the new lineup of guitars that I can't quite reconcile. As somebody who has, and then as somebody who loves these guitars, like these are my three main guitars, like I love Gibson. Everybody, all my favorite guitar heroes play these guitars. I love the way they sound, I love the way they feel. So this isn't a rant against Gibson so much as an attempt to explain from a consumer's perspective, as somebody who loves the brand, what I don't like about what they're doing, and what I think is probably a common sentiment in consumers who are similar to me in their feeling about Gibson. So I'm of an age where I've lived in plenty of houses that have the really nice, 4-inch crown, 4-inch baseboard molding made out of oak, and the really nice crown molding on the top of the ceiling all over the place, and the really nice, half wall of just stained dark wood. Like, I've lived in those places, and they're beautiful, and everybody likes those places. Or at least everybody I know. Because they're so beautiful. And if you look at a lot of things made, pre-1950s, everything is really ornate and beautiful and very detailed. And that's what I like. That's like 50% that's 50% of what I like about these guitars. Is that quality, that crown molding, high baseboard, 50s style house, detailed, full of things that are beautiful. And if you start to take in details, like just starting with the case alone, right, this is why I gushed over my brand new case, because of some of the small details. But if you just start with, the top of the case, this is a nice, that's an aesthetically pleasing logo. The shape of the case is aesthetically pleasing. It's more sort of in that 50s style of the case. The gold hardware, and then you get inside and it's like the crushed velvet, right? Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's a nice visual detail, and the color is pleasing. And then you get onto the guitar, right? And the guitar's got these beautiful ornate cutaways. It's got the molding all the way around, this pickguard. These little details that a person like me cannot help but notice, like how thick this binding is, and how unlike usual, or pardon me, not binding, how thick this pickguard is, and how deep the bevel is, and how beautiful that looks. And then this little detail of and then we have this little detail of even the thing that holds the pickguard on. That's not like the usual little L bracket that they put on something. It's ornate looking, it's mechanical looking, there's an intrinsic beauty because of its mechanical appearance, right, to me. And then you can continue on to details like the pickup rings, right? Like, pickup rings to me are like molding. And then the finish of the guitar, right? And the fact that it has double binding, and the fact that it appears to be black, but it's actually brown. And then the detail of the fact that this continues onto the back of the guitar. And that it blends so beautifully into the rest of the neck and even that logo that tells you, that reminds you that it's a custom shop. Now, I've swapped out the tuners, and visually I will grant you that the other tuners probably suit this guitar a little bit better than these ones do, but I have a plan for that. There's some cloisons out there that might solve this problem, because the little holes do bug me. But anyway, we get up around the front and the details continue, right? There's that headstock shape that you're familiar with. And if I'm honest, I'd love to have one that has the full binding around the headstock. Like, I would love a custom. Would basically completely 100% make my day, right? But on this one here, you have that beautiful cream binding. That's the same color all the way around the guitar. And so even once we get the guitar out of the case, like, there's not a heap that comes with this one, but just like on my case, logo there. Little Gibson polish cloth. I've kept the original tuners. I wouldn't sell those for this sort of guitar. What is that? Oh, that's the case tag I've kept. And the truss rod adjustment tool. And then your little fancy booklet with your authentication and stuff in there. And it's just like little details that make your experience a little bit better. And I see some of that stuff being stripped away in the new models, right? This whole thing, the guitar is amazing, but in its entirety, as a consumer who mostly plays at home, which I'm going to argue is a majority of people, right? I'm going to argue with no, just based on my intuition, that most consumers of this kind of stuff are just guys at home like us, like me, that are not necessarily in a band. Maybe you play a little bit in a band, but you're not like a commercial, you don't earn any kind of living owning a guitar. I would argue probably most people who own guitars just own them for their personal pleasure. And if you carry that sentiment further, people who are naturally artistically inclined are probably also interested in things like art. Now, this is my young daughter's art, so you fuck yourself if you have any complaints about it, but I like it. And you know, you like beautiful things. I like to hang my daughter's art on the wall because it reminds me of her, and I think it's beautiful for many reasons. But the point is, I like to have beautiful things around me because for some reason that's important to me. And I think for old guys like me, because I'm in my 40s now, and that's like when I was 20, a guy in his 40s was ancient. Stuff like this wasn't important, right? People will argue with you all day long that to make the same amount of rock and roll, all you need is a stripped down, right? Take the pick guard off it, a couple of P90s, no binding, no nothing, just a stripped down rock and roll guitar. But even this guitar has its details, right? Which is 50% of the reason that I love it. Even its blemishes. Even the fact that those are genuine blemishes and that I have, you know, I have some intrinsic respect for the fact that this has survived 20, you know, going on 22 years, and it's still here to make music. So that's not something I'm interested in taking away from the guitar. I think that would be tragic to try to take that away in this case, right? But we've all had that brand new guitar that slips out of your hand, you get a little ding, and you're like, oh Christ, I wish that wasn't there. But this guitar is full of stuff like that. And it doesn't bug me at all because I know it's come by it honestly. Right? So that becomes part of the intrinsic details that I love about this guitar. Which is why I really have a distaste for them, the manufacturing of that intrinsic beauty of natural age. Like, I think that's, I can't still quite wrap I understand, like, I love the way this guitar looks, so don't get me wrong, I understand why people like the look of relics. I've never disputed that relics look cool. Some relics look better than others, some look more genuine than others, but this is a guitar I know that's come by this age wear honestly. So it's beautiful, and it becomes part of those little details, the experience of the guitar, which for me is 50% of it is how it looks. I've gotten rid of guitars that I really liked the way they sounded, but I didn't like the way they looked. I'm not a professional musician. There's no reason you should trust me. My opinion of this stuff, I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other or sway you one way or the other that what I think is important. I'm just trying to explain to you, from my perspective as somebody of my age group, why something like this, why Gibson getting away from making stuff that looks like ornate and beautiful like this is unsettling to people like me. Because it doesn't feel like, when you see something that has a lot of attention to detail, it's always really fascinating. You just spend hours getting lost in the details, and that's the kind of person that I think the category of people in my age bracket and probably older are, that's a sentiment that would resonate with people in that category. And I think that for somebody like me to get excited about something that seems silly, like what I posted in my last video, which is just that, and I didn't articulate it well, which is that this looks like leather, right? That's what I should have said all the way around, is that the top of this looks more like a leather grain pattern. And I find that visually appealing. So they all have the same handle, right? And the other thing I didn't mention was that this has the cutout for the, I think I put it in, I only noticed it actually while I was editing the video, that it has the cutout for the switch. But it's little details like that you discover and you're like, oh, that's a nice detail. I miss stuff like that. Like, I find there's less and less of that sort of discovery. And it also gives you, at least for somebody like me, it gives you sort of a sense of security about the fact that whoever did this, or whatever group did this or company did this, cared enough to create all these details. This must be really good, right? Like, it gives you that sort of sense of reassurance that what you have is good quality. And I think that going too far in the other direction is like the stuff that I see that we've lost in at least common housing, like houses that most people can afford. All that really beautiful stuff that every house had in the 1950s, all the beautiful crown molding and ornate ceilings and flooring and beautiful hardwood flooring and all that kind of stuff is gone. And it just kind of popped in my mind while I was watching a video this morning about a new 2018 guitar, thinking, oh Christ, that's like all the houses that got rid of, in the 70s, that got rid of the crown molding and the nice hardwood flooring and just put in just garbage, just popcorn ceilings and cheap vinyl flooring and awful shag carpeting. Well, that's debatable. But yeah, so shag carpeting is awful. I promise you I lived through it. It's terrible. But this velvet is beautiful, and hopefully this silly little rant resonates at least with somebody, you know, because I'm not trying to appeal to 20-year-old kids. If you're 20, like if you're younger than 30 and you're watching my channel, that's really great. I welcome you, but accept the fact that when I speak from a person who's 40-plus-year-old's point of view, right? Like I'm a married guy with kids who worked IT for many years. I'm just a regular guy who plays guitar at home, who developed an interest in repairing guitars, and over the past few years of making YouTube videos has become obsessed with everything to do with guitars, and I'm trying to learn continuously. So this video, I'm not disparaging Gibson, it's just how it sort of played out in my mind. That's kind of the light bulb that went off in my mind, like, oh, this sort of feels like it's going in that direction. Anyway, hopefully the analogy resonates with people who lived through that stuff, like I did. And hopefully for people who don't understand, you know, people who hate what Gibson's doing to their guitars, maybe this provides you some insight.